the intense epic version by Pianistech. The existence of an intense epic version implies the existence of a less epic, less intense version that Pianistech didn't try as hard on, and I am not quite sure how to feel about that. Well, it looks like we've been played, Helldivers. The automatons executed an encirclement maneuver around Claorell and closed the pocket masterfully. I am not going to announce casualty figures on air for the sake of morale, but I didn't hear about a lot of divers or sea marines making it off Claorell before the FEL access route went down. Don't worry, we'll get them back. Ever since, Helldivers have been fighting it out on Imber, trying to regain access to Claorell so as to rescue their fellows, as well as the Deep Mantle Forge complex, but the Incineration Corps is giving them a hard time and a really tough fight. Apparently, Erwin Rammel has seen some upgrades lately, and he has graduated from care bearer to legitimate threat. Though, get this, dear listeners, Mercy tells me that Rammel listens to my broadcasts, and he's actually a fan. Don't get him wrong, he still wants me dead. But regardless of his prior numerical designation, he's actually started to call himself Erwin Rammel. And the mainframe doesn't appreciate that kind of individuality. The big mechanical boss does like the results that he tends to get, though, now that he's not losing his entire army on a single planet. On the other side of the galactic sphere, things are not looking great. Over the past week, we've lost Borrock, Tarek, Aztera, Veld, Sliff, and now Cirrus is under threat from the Terminid Predator strain. What the heck is with these guys? They're becoming more commonplace than normal Terminids. It's almost like this species has encountered an evolutionary crossroads, much like our species did with Homo sapien and Neanderthal. In other news, there's been a new development of the Krakabos situation, where the Vertex divers are getting a little antsy about the presence of the Seraphim on the planet and have met with Gunval to demand our removal, citing concerns over the preservation of their independence. Let me not mince words, Vertex Command. I do not care whose butt sits upon which throne on which planet. My concern is with the people, and I do not believe that those who do not wield swords should die upon them. This war is a you problem with the Nadirs, and when my Seraphim show up to interfere with one's sovereignty, you've already done things to prove that you don't deserve to have it anymore. Considering a whole town packed with refugees and children was gassed during the night, I'd say that qualifies. We don't ask permission before we show up. We do our jobs, we save lives, and then we vanish back into the fleet to help someone else. That's what we do. Though, considering you're threatening us now with arrest and detention, and my Seraphim are under strict orders not to allow that kind of thing to happen to themselves, considering our experiences with the Ministry of Truth, you really don't leave us much choice, do you? You've given us until May the 7th to be fully gone, and so it shall. You can sort things out with the Nadirs yourselves. Our services are desperately needed elsewhere. I just hope that Super Earth doesn't have an alien arson problem where you're bickering with some illuminate mind-controlled meat puppets over a backwater. Do you think maybe the Nadirs are actually working for the squids, and they're just distracting you from what's really important? Think about it. Anyway, now that I've put Vertex Command on blast on a public airwave, we can move on to one of my favorite parts of the show, the Geneva suggestion. Today, we're covering the Spartan build, because 300 Helldivers armed with this setup could easily hold a narrow pass in the mountains against any number of mutant Terminid cheese graters. The first thing to mention is heavy armor and peak physique, which means the PH-202 Twig Snapper armor. You're often going to be right there in the thick of it with bugs leaping at you from all directions. You're going to need to be able to take a hit or three while giving back in equal measure. The SMG-72 Pummeler is simply amazing at defanging predators as they come in, and stun locks them so that you can puncture their noggins quickly and easily. Does pretty hefty damage per bullet too. You could also take the STA-11 or MP-98 Knight for more damage per second, but that stun effect makes missions on the Predator front so much easier. Next up is the star of the show, the Stun Lance. If you aim for heads, you can slay warrior-sized Terminids in a single stab. Hive guards with multiple pokes, take the heads off brood commanders with 3 to 4 stabs, and even down chargers and impalers by spearing the vital arteries in their legs. You're going to need the ability to deal with groups of bile spewers and help thin out large swarms, Not to mention pop bug holes. The TED-63 dynamite bundle does that with gusto. These grenades hit more like small 500 kg bombs, and the radius is pretty wide. When in doubt, throw a boombox into the oncoming swarm and enjoy the resultant spray of ichor and shattered chitin. Now we move into stratagems, starting with the quasar. I have often found this to be one's best friend on the bug front. Effective, lightweight, easy to carry, good for right-handed or left-handed operation. If you see a charger off in the distance that you know is going to give you problems once the battle has begun, snipe his head clean off his shoulders and take him out early. Though there are reports of chargers surviving without a head, and those reports are increasing, so do watch out for that. The ballistic shield backpack is what is going to allow you to dive headlong into a melee with multiple predator stalkers and hope to emerge from the fight alive. These things are surprisingly durable and complement the stun lance wonderfully. When a stalker comes in, he will strike the shield several times and then pause to catch his breath. That's your chance to spear him right through the skull in a riposte. Most stalkers tend to go down with a stab or two to the head, and it's actually quite a wonderful feeling when you're buried in bugs to such a degree that you can't even see what's going on, and you can just stab and stab and stab in a battle frenzy and are rewarded with unearthly dying shrieks and kill awards to your account. Many squads have written my fished units off as destroyed, killed in the line of duty, only to see them emerge from the bottom of a corpse pile, coated in viscera but still functional. I average about 100 melee kills per deployment these days. It's as I said a few days ago, not only is melee combat viable, it might be my favorite way to slay predators now. After that comes offensive stratagems. Orbital napalm barrage is pretty much required for high-tier bug missions. You see a bug breach, it's usually a Gaellivare squad's first reaction to throw an O and B on it. I've seen whole teams toss their beacons onto a single bug breach, and the entire Super Destroyer squadron rains literally hell down upon it unendingly until every last bug has been cooked to a smoking crisp. It's a good thing. Rounding this build out is the 500 kg bomb. Bile Titans, you're gonna struggle with, because you can't reach up and stab their skulls. You're too short. And sometimes they just don't get the message that you're not interested. Slamming one of these bad boys home is often enough to deter even the most devoted Terminate and usher them on to that great alien ant farm in the sky. It's also quite versatile when it comes to popping bug holes, shattering Gents swarms, or taking out Ministry of Truth branch offices on occupied planets because yes, I am that petty. You're going to want Vitality enhancement as your chosen booster, because that grants a good 10 to 15% durability increase to all parts of a Gaellivare's body, depending on the damaged area. It's not just a limb enhancement. Considering how hazardous your line of work as a Spartan is, you're gonna need all the help that you can get, especially since this booster stacks in combination with heavy armor to make you very sturdy indeed. Now, before I close the show out, I'd like to give a shout out to one of my most devoted fans, Avi of the Shadow Corps, who says hi. Good morning, Avi. We hope that you're doing well and have a day ahead of you full of smiles. That's been Liberty's latest with me, Pandera the Radio Angel. We've all got a lot of work to do, especially me, with the Seraphim's withdrawal from Krakabos and subsequent redeployment back to the bug house, but we'll see it done. For liberty, for freedom, for democracy, and for the Angelic Rebellion. Viva la Revolution Angelique!